Okay, guys, welcome to Seeds of Music. I'm here with Poeina Suddarth. Did I say that right? Is that correct pronunciation? I don't. Okay, I guess. I
That's how
guess.
everybody else does it, so I'm sure they're right.
So, Poeina's a singer-songwriter. First ran into her in Los Angeles at Soapbox in Studio City, and I was like, wow. This is awesome. This is awesome. She has a really down home guitar style and a voice that is really robust and operatic at times, which kind of blew me away because it's not something you expect of at first. And her voice has like some really pleasantly rough edges to it as well. And I got a chance to listen to songs like White Mountain Beauty, and it just really grounds you in this like narrative element. While songs like Coral Reef, you're just blown away with. I believe that was the song that you played that you had this kind of operatic mode that you jumped into, and I thought that was really awesome mixing those styles. She's just written
Right.
over 200 songs and has toured for the past 13 years with groups from rock to hip hop. She just released her EP last February on iTunes called Poeina, and you should check it out. And she's currently on tour at South by Southwest. Is that true, or are you just hanging out?
Yes, I'm on tour. I did some shows on the way down, and then I'm gonna be touring through the rest of the month.
Okay. Well, it's great to have you on. You're going to be one of the original gangsters interviews. Seeds and Music.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me, Seeds of Music.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So I guess we'll start off with like the general, something more general, like just give us a short introduction, who you are and where you're from.
Oh, where I'm from? That's usually the toughest question for me. I guess, what will I say today? Where am I from? I live in LA. I'm originally from Seattle, Utah, Idaho, and Florida. And I lived in Portland for a while, for like 6 or so years.
Nice. So you,
So mostly Northwest.
okay. So like multiple places.
Yeah, I've lived in Arizona and Texas, and my family moved a lot.
Oh, okay. Was it like military family or just more of the nomad lifestyle?
Yeah, they're all kind of gypsies. I was just realizing when I got to LA for the first time, I was living in my van, and I was just like thinking about how crazy it was. Like, my grandmother used to live in a little RV, like on the streets of LA. And my mom, she's constantly moving and traveling and uh, trying out new places. Just in the last couple of years, she's lived in San Francisco, Holland, southern Utah, and Idaho. And I think she's moving to Arizona next month. So,
Oh man. Wow. Yeah, that's so obviously you've done a lot of traveling and even some living off the grid. You live
hmm
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. How that experience of just being kind of isolated and how that maybe has influenced your writing and your music.
Well, it definitely influenced my writing. You were talking about the song White Mountain Beauty earlier. That song I wrote when I was living in the White Mountains of Arizona. And it was beautiful out there and very, very quiet. I was, like every good hippie, I suppose. They have these wild fantasies about living off the grid and growing their own vegetables and being self-sufficient and
Yeah.
not having any authority tell you what to do or to do it.
Yeah.
So I went out to the White Mountains of Arizona with an ex.
Oh, oh, gotcha.
And we built a little cabin out of like recycled uh, lumber and whatnot, and we built a solar shower, and we just started setting up there. And yeah, we built an outhouse. I had to dig a big hole. And, the solar shower was my favorite part because, you can actually take a really nice shower with a little 5 gallon, it's like a bag, and you hang it from the tree, and it gets really
Oh,
warm, and you
oh,
just,
okay. Pull a
you
cord or
wash your
something.
hair, and yeah, and then you
Oh,
turn it off while you're like soaping, and you turn it back on. But you can actually get a really nice hot warm shower, and like in the wilderness, it's just beautiful.
so
You
you
know,
just you just
nothing but
like boil
birds.
it and you just like heat the water up and then you put it in there. Is there some way to heat it up in there?
No, you don't boil it. I put a tree and heats it up. The sun
Oh,
heats it up. So we just built like, um, this little fenced in area with you dig a hole and you put in a bunch of cinders, and then you can put your floor down, and that way the water has a place to like sit in the ground before it sinks into the ground. So we did it right next to a tree. So every time we showered, it would water the tree. So it was awesome. That part was awesome. But uh, someone's really yelling over there. So funny. Hello, Austin. So White Mountain Beauty I wrote out there because I literally, like, I'm singing with the thunder brings the rain and the canyons echoing. Um, like, you literally, and it talks about like being able to see the spring come out. It's like, it's so flat out there, and you literally could, see a storm several miles out and watch it slowly come towards you and know, okay, I guess I'll go in a little bit. Okay, now it's raining. But it was really beautiful out there, and, definitely made me want to write a little country song.
oh yeah, yeah. I'm originally a Southern boy,
I was like,
so
I'm in the country, I'm writing a country song.
yeah, I can sympathize with that. I mean, I'm originally from Florida, but I grew up in Alabama, and when it storms down in Florida, you don't want to be outside because sometimes it'll come down so heavy that you walk out for 2 seconds and the front half of you will be completely soaked, but your back half will be dry because the wind's blowing the rain sideways. So,
I
yeah,
was just telling somebody last time I was in Austin, because they have some pretty heavy rains in the rainy season here, kind of like Florida. I never seen anything like Florida rain though. It's pretty unique
yeah,
situation. But
tropical monsoon.
yeah, one of the times I was in Austin, I was like, again, living in a van here for a while, and the big monsoon rains were coming down, and we were all dirty. I was that yeah, 5 people in a van and a dog. So we actually like went to like a parking lot where they had the rain gutters pouring down off the side of the building, and the weather here is like 75 degrees and pouring down rain. I just took a shower right outside, right underneath the rain gutter.
How cold was it? How cold was it?
It was it was hot. It was like 75,
Oh, nice.
75, 80. It was nice. I mean, the water was warm. But yeah, I'm sure some people got a kick out of seeing a bunch of kids like showering via rainwater, urban
In an urban setting.
urban showering. It was fun.
So, that's kind of got a little like, guerrilla element to it where you're just kind of, um, using the environment like in any way you can that's like really immediate. Does that kind of show through in any of your music where there's this real immediacy of action? You're not like, oh, I gotta find a shower. You're just like, screw it. I'm gonna go use that
I guess so,
drink.
yeah. I never really thought about that, but I guess so, yeah. I mean, I definitely, I spent a lot of years writing songs to save my life. and then I got older, and I saved myself, and then I decided I should probably keep writing songs because that's all I'd ever done. So I spent some time getting better at the guitar and focusing on um, just going back into my experiences and writing about things that I didn't really think about writing, but there were great stories or things that maybe I should have written about and didn't because I was sort of just doing it and writing whatever came out and never really spending a second time thinking about the content and whatnot. So I definitely, in my older years, think a lot more about the content and take more time with like choosing what I want to write about.
So do you feel like through your experience, because you've written over 200 songs, a lot, so you have a lot of experience, definitely, and you toured for many years, so that's a lot of experience too. Do you feel like what is the hallmark of music that has matured? Is it this like ability to be self-critical and go revisit a song that you wrote with like really raw energy and emotion and say, maybe it'd be better with this melody, or maybe it's best to cut out this lyric here. Like what do you think is like quintessential for a matured song?
Um, Maturity.
I mean, I can't write
No,
I can't write songs
no,
about
seriously.
farting and like fart jokes.
Well, I bet a 3-year-old would think it was pretty in depth.
Is it messed up if I think it's funny?
No,
Oh
it
man,
just means you're 3. Just kidding.
it's yeah. Pretty much, I am pretty much.
Just kidding. No, what do I think is really important? I think, when you write a song, or I used to do it a lot, and I, learned the hard way. I'm good at learning the hard way, but, when you write a song and you're done with it, at that point, it's not done. I think once you're done with the song, at that point, it's time to evaluate it, a little bit outside of the emotional connection to the song. And, I'll do a lot of like open mics with new songs and get feedback and try it out and see if things are working the way that I think that they're going to work, and also just see what people's response are. And, I can tell when I perform a song whether or not it responds well. And, sometimes when I play with other musicians, that gives me a lot more perspective about the song itself, because, they'll have ideas about, hey, this is great, but I'd really like to hang on this note, or I'd really like to, I think it's just too long. People have opinions, and you can't always listen to everyone's opinions
Yeah.
when you're creating art. But you know, if you get somebody's good opinion and you try it out and it works far better than anything you would have thought of, you gotta let people tell you what they think, and kind of put your emotions in the back burner when you're trying to write a really good song, because uh, there's definitely songs where it's just like, I don't really care if anybody likes it or not. Like,
Yeah,
it's
which is important to
exactly
have
how
some of
I
those.
have to write it,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I have to have that song to help me get through something,
yeah,
and then maybe after I play it 100 times and I'm over it, then I can be more objective
yeah.
about whether or not it's a good song or whether or not it needs changes. But if you finish a song and then take that song and then look at it and think about it and try to get feedback and ask people how it can be a better song, I think that's always helpful.
Yeah. So it sounds like writing mature music means that you're willing to open the song up for criticism because it's very important for you for the song itself to be the strongest like it can be. Like it's like your ego is not involved so much in the song, like the music is an entity outside of you that you channel and you create, and it's good to have other musicians or people or enthusiasts, especially people you trust their opinion to kind of put their input on it. But also good to have those
Yeah,
songs where
like
you're like,
your band or
screw it,
your
I'm just gonna make
musicians.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. You gotta be open and not so attached to your songs that you're gonna die if somebody tears it apart and
Yeah.
tells you it's awful.
I'm the
Because
opposite. I'm like,
that'll
just rip mine apart, man. Like I don't care
yeah.
about these. Even though I kind of do, it's like I kind of
hmm
don't at the same time. But
Yeah, you just have to know when to draw the line when something in a song is really important to you because it's a specific message you're trying to relay, and then you just gotta be able to balance and be objective between uh, your self expression and also your ability to relate to other people. Because if you get too inside your head, I mean, we all know what happens there.
yeah, it'll be hard to share it with other people because it's no one can be inside anyone's head 100%, or completely. So it's like
hmm
it takes like skill to craft it so that people can understand that message. So it's a little bit more relatable, which is
hmm
good because you want to get your message out there to people and through music, and I think that's one of the biggest strengths of music. Um, so you've done some. Actually, I thought this was really awesome when I read about this. You've done some vocals for some hip hop groups. Uh,
Yeah.
that is that is awesome. I'm a huge hip hop fan, and I
Me
have
too.
I have fantasies about working with a lot of these different underground groups that I've been listening to for years, and hopefully I'll get them on a interview here, which would be awesome. uh,
Awesome.
so, how'd that come about? What made you decide to, hey, I really want to contribute to this genre, which is stylistically very different from what you're currently doing.
Well, being in Seattle when I was younger, a hip hop collective called Old Dominion, and there's a lot of different rappers in the Old Dominion collective, and I really just thought they were like the coolest thing ever. And I was living, and I'd see them perform around town, whatever, because rappers are awesome and that they always try to do all ages shows and because they know kids like to go out and see them. So um, I was living in this apartment and I met this really amazing poet, and we crossing paths, and he looked at me and was like, "You like poetry?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "You smoke herb?" It's like, "Yeah." So he's like, "All right," and he leaves. And so I was like, "That was a weird interaction."
Wait,
But he
he
came
said,
by later
what did he say?
and invited me over to his house, and he asked me if I liked poetry, and then he asked me if I liked herb.
Oh, okay. You Skype skipped for a second, so I for some reason I thought he said that, and then he said you smell good. I was like, yeah, that's a
Oh,
yeah.
that
I
would
was like,
be
thanks, man.
a little
But
different
now we got that
conversation.
straight. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little bit different. Hey, you like poetry? By the way, you smell good. Peace out.
Yeah, it smelled
Yeah.
good. Well, I went over to his apartment and he had like all these dudes just like sitting down on the floor, chilling out, and they were all just like doing poetry, just in the round. And they asked me if I had any poems, and I was like, poetry, I guess, sure. So I came up with one little poem, and it was not like them, where it was like, pages of like diary entry, you know, long poem. Like mine was just like, 4-line haiku type of thing. But they liked my poem, and I was like, yeah, that's good. And I was like, well, I don't really write songs. And so they were like, "What? You write songs? No way." Well, all right. Play us a song then. So I went and got my guitar and I sang for them, and uh, they loved it. And then my friend Akil Jesse, he introduced me to my friend Smoke of Old Dominion, and he was recording some of his poetry, and he asked me to come and sing. So once I met Smoke, he was just introducing me to all kinds of rappers and asking me to come in the studio and record. And so I just sort of did, some studio work here and there. And then a few years ago, he was always great about sharing my music with people and just being like, listen to her. And then Henri he raps. Henri Osborne, he's also in Dark Time Sunshine. They're really, really awesome, and I suggest checking them out. uh, it was like, it was March, I guess, 3 years ago or something like that. And they basically said, you're our first choice. We want you to go with us on tour. And I was just super excited because
I would just like faint
I was,
if someone
yeah, I
said
was a
go
big,
on tour.
yeah, I was a big fan of Old Dominion and Henri. I had, CDs and whatnot that I listened when I was a kid. And so the fact that he was asking me to go on tour, I was pretty excited about that. And
Nice.
so I recorded on their album, and I was the only girl, and they were crazy and cracked me up, and I survived. And
So that's
then,
good. That's good.
yeah, and
You're
then
here today.
I just kept recording, just with, of course, they've called me in, and so I just got lucky, I guess. I love it though.
Yeah, well, I mean, you made it happen, if you hadn't have done all of the work on your own music and your own voice, then when that opportunity came, you wouldn't have been able to seize it. So, so you made it happen, definitely. Um,
Thanks.
so, so you're, when I saw you at Soapbox, you had some pretty sweet guitar playing going on to back up your
Thank you.
singing. I
Thank
definitely couldn't do that and be able to sing like that on top of it. I have to focus like on my guitar so that I don't mess up. But how do you when you started working on guitar when you decided I wanted to be better at guitar, how did you go about practicing a guitar, and how does like your guitar skill relate to the music? Obviously, you're not trying to and do all this like crazy stuff. So, what has been your mentality when you practice guitar?
Well, when I was younger, I was just like so excited and thought it was just like the coolest thing in the world. So I just, first started up like picking up Guitar Magazine and learning the songs in the back. And I was like,
See, that kid likes it
up
guitar
folk
too.
books. Huh?
That kid
What
or
did you say?
whoever just yelled that kid, he likes guitar too, apparently.
Yeah. Sure he does. So, oh, he's cute. What was the question? Playing guitar.
Yeah,
So
mentality.
I, I just, at first it was just like practicing like 10, 13 hours a day, just trying to get the chords and the shapes and whatnot. And, my mom would yell at me, you need to eat. And I'd just be like, I've almost got it. Just one more time, one more time. She's just like, oh, sick of hearing this. And I just kept doing it. And, then I got to a certain point and I got kind of weird and was just like, girls don't really play guitar.
Oh no, no.
Just
Oh
so
yeah.
stupid. And I was like, kind of like hated playing. And I was just like, I just want to sing. I don't want to play this
Come on, you love
thing.
Heart though, right?
Oh yeah.
Heart's awesome.
Someone took me to a Heart show and, got my head on straight and said, "See, girls play," and I was like,
Uh,
"Dang,
and they're sh- and they
right."
they're covering Zeppelin, so it's hey man, it's not a
Amazing.
doesn't have to be a male dominated instrument, even though it's very phallic, I guess, like when you're holding and playing it. But no, that's
Yeah,
really
they
cool.
were so amazing. I got to see him in a concert that was like only 30 people there. So I really got to sit right there and just sing and all that. I actually had the same voice teacher as them in Seattle.
Oh, did you so like your mentality when practicing guitar was very much just uh like pure tenacity, like I'm just gonna play it and play it until my mom like just smashes up the guitar, you know? Would you say that's like the main approach you took to practice?
Um, when I was younger, for sure. And then, I think now, as far as trying to give advice, I would just say to know and expect that you're going to go through many relationships with playing your instrument. You're going to absolutely love it, and practicing is going to be easy, and then you're going to go
Yeah,
through times where you hate it and you just like don't feel like you're any good or that you can get any better. And then you just keep, during those times, you just have to keep practicing. I mean, I remember times when I was younger and like singing my songs that I'd written 100 times and hating every second of playing these songs, but I had to make myself do it just to like keep them sharp, even though I wasn't like growing on the guitar at all. And then you get these little seeds, or sometimes people call them little nuggets of learning, where you learn a scale or a new pattern or a new finger picking pattern,
yeah,
or some musician turns you on to a different tuning or something like that, and then all of a sudden your brain is just so psyched about it again. So you gotta constantly be giving yourself new things to get excited about in your instrument, and challenging yourself to learn more. Eventually I was like, I've been doing this a long time. I should probably get better at it. And I know that like I had been continually getting better at it, but you kind of go through these emotions of like, well, I'm terrible. Maybe I should learn something.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, then I just started practicing my scales every single day just to get flexibility and it was dexterity it was called.
yeah,
Stretching my hands out,
yeah.
my fingers so that I could reach the notes better. Um, I started trading lessons with someone who's a good guitar player and not as a
Really?
strong,
You traded
not
lessons?
yeah, he was not as a strong singer, but he was a great guitar player, and I was a strong singer, not that great guitar player. So
That's
we traded.
exactly what I'm doing right now.
That's awesome. It's totally
That's I trade
worth it.
lessons. Yeah, I trade lessons with a woman who's was a professional singer for 9 years, and she just I is not that great at singing. She's like not that great at guitar. Just trying to build that up. So we bartered lessons, and it's been like great. It's been great.
Yeah, it's so amazing, and it's such a casual setting to trade lessons when you can, because you know musicians aren't always rich. So you save a lot of money for one,
Yeah,
but then it's more casual. It's like if you run over time, like you're not taking anybody's time. It's just you have this agreement.
yeah.
Your goal is to like really help each other get better, and you know that you have the same objective, that you're going to get on stage and play. So it's a great, wonderful exchange. But I learned a lot from that, and he had taught me how to all different kinds of shapes and chords and uh, patterns and whatnot that I was able to practice for long after I was able to practice and get better at and learn.
Hmm.
So at this point, practicing is I'm on the road so much that when I get home, like I just want to crash and relax, and so I have to really remind myself, like, okay, you have a show, like you have to practice, you have to get ready, and it's just like a lot of just like running through the song, so don't forget the words and the chords and
Oh yeah,
the notes and whatever.
yeah,
But going to open mic every night is great because then I'm always just playing a few songs and keeping them all sharp throughout the week and
yeah,
you know whatnot. Because just playing a lot, it keeps you sharp playing a lot. But you have to remember that if you have a month off, you have to play that whole month. Or when you go back to play, you sound like a rusty nail.
yeah. Well, yeah, I can agree with that there. That's so cool that that you barter for lessons, though. I think that's like for anybody who wants lessons, but you know is low on the cash. It's good to maybe find some way that you can offer something else. Like you could
You might
either
babysitting, like
exactly,
music
exactly.
teachers have kids sometimes.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
You can, if you know how to paint houses, you could try to barter paint their house. Like, don't let money convince you that you can't do whatever it is that you want to do. You just have to find a way. And people forget that, like, you can barter. You can ask people, can I do something else? Can I come work in your office? I'm a professional secretary. I can
Hmm.
do paperwork for a few hours a week so
Yeah,
that my
yeah,
kid can take a lesson or I can take a lesson or
yeah.
whatever the situation. Um, find a way. And
Carry
if
your
someone tells you
amplifier.
no, yeah, if someone tells you no, then you know the answer and you go
Yeah,
somewhere else
yeah,
until you can
yeah.
find it,
Do some yard
and
work.
yeah. And I know there's a lot of people that live out in tiny, small towns that don't have access like we do in the big cities to have 100 different teachers we can ask someone to trade. And in that case, I would say take advantage of the internet because that's something that
Yeah,
we all uh, do have access to. Even if
yeah,
you have to go to the public library,
yeah.
you can look up your favorite song on the internet and there is uh, guitar chords or piano chords or whatever, and the lyrics, and you can write them down in a notebook or press print, however you like to do it. And if you don't know the chord, you can also look that up, and you can read, in like guitar tab.
Hmm.
It's really simple to read. Like people get scared of it because it looks like reading music, but it's the numbers just
Yeah,
relate to
it's much
frets.
easier. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's really really easy to figure out how to read tab, and so if you know, you can just read the chords and figure it out and go home and practice them, uh, and learn whatever your favorite song is, and by learning other people's music and um, mimicking other people's sound. That's how you're gonna learn your own style and sound because you're going to. I mean, you definitely when you're younger, you're gonna want to copy whoever you love.
yeah, yeah,
Happens
yeah.
to all of us, you know. But you keep going and you just keep learning all different kinds of music, and
Yeah, master the basics
I've had to learn a lot. Yeah, yeah, but anybody can learn, and that's the most amazing thing about it. And even if you don't want to, with notes or magazines or internet chords, you can just play. Like you can just play whatever notes you like, and you could just play them slowly until you figure out all the notes that go together in your head. And then if you figure out all the notes, one note at a time, and keep practicing the little ditty that you come up with until you have a whole song, eventually you're going to feel pretty awesome. And you'll have a song to play, and no one taught you anything, and you don't know anything. There's plenty of musicians out there that don't know anything about any chords or anything, but they just do it anyway. So there's no excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. That's right, man. That's true. No excuses. So, I just have a couple questions I want to run through quick. This will kind of just be rapid fire. Do you
Okay.
have you had? Oh, she took a swig.
Go
Actually, I
ahead.
have mine. My big, my huge jar of water. Yeah, I think
I
it
don't.
was like a pickle jar at one point.
I
Um,
wish it was coffee, but it's not.
uh, no, if it was coffee, I would be like this the whole time in the interview, just jittering. But so so have you had any schooling, any formal training with music?
When I was a kid, I was fortunate enough to sing with the Seattle Girls Choir, and so and had this really amazing teacher who was Russian, and her name was Ludmila Tretsakova. And I feel very fortunate that I had a Russian teacher. I know a lot of people couldn't handle it and
It's very
cried
strict.
and
Uh,
left and quit, but I rather enjoyed being screamed at in Russian. She was very strict. She taught me to sing in a lot of different languages, and she taught me how to understand and listen to sounds, and she taught me how to support my voice, and she taught me to be a very strong singer. And she was very much of the mentality of, uh, you know, do it right or go home. Practice or just stop wasting my time. Like
uh,
you're going to be great. That's the only objective. You're going to be great or you're going to be nothing. So, having somebody who I knew believed in me, because they wouldn't let me in the choir if they didn't, but yet believed in me enough that they didn't care if they made me cry or fall apart. The main objective was to make me great. Um, it pushed me so hard, and it made me an independent studier, and it made me an independent learner, and it made me not be afraid to get yelled at. And that's a useful skill in life, especially as a musician.
yeah.
I've been a street performer many times and many years. Uh, I don't really do it much anymore, but you know, I just constantly people screaming at you and yelling at you, telling you to get a job or don't lose your day job. I've had people say that to me at shows in my earlier years. Don't quit your day job. You suck. And if you listen to that shit, you'll, want to tear out your heart and become a drug addict. But you don't have to listen to any of that. And,
Yeah.
you just gotta have to have a tough skin, I think, to be an artist and fall apart on your own time. So,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like I mean, it's a useful thing to have whether you're a musician or not. No matter what
mhm.
your craft is, in the beginning you're gonna suck. Like I remember the exact feeling I had when I first touched a guitar and tried to play something, and I was standing next to two of my friends, and I remember feeling like really like low as dirt. Like I literally did not deserve to live because I sucked so bad. But it's but it's important to push past that and keep going. And you'll never. I mean, you might never shake that feeling of needing to be better and better, which is good. But you definitely have to have
Yeah.
the ability to push through. Um, so it's good to see that a little bit of formal training has definitely helped you out. What
Yeah, it
uh,
was a benefit for sure. And I did get to take lessons for a couple of years from a voice instructor named David Kyle in Seattle. And he's really, really amazing. He's taught a lot of really amazing people, and he just had a very simple and pure method to understanding how to use your voice,
mhm,
uh, and how to support your voice so that could be a strong singer. And um, I mean, a lot of people out there are passing on the lessons that he taught because they're
yeah,
so clear and wonderful. But for voice, people get, I think, a little bit more emotional than the guitar or the saxophone or something, because With a guitar, you're just like, oh, nah, I suck. I guess I should
Ugh,
practice.
turn up louder. I
Yeah.
suck. Good. Fuck it. Turn it
But,
to
when
11.
it's your voice and you sing and it sounds horrible, a lot of people think that because it's an internal instrument out of your soul. So if you
Your
don't
voice
sing well,
cracks.
then something's wrong with your soul.
Or American Idol has just put us in that
which
mode
is
of just being like,
not
you
true.
suck. You know,
Yeah. So
media.
yeah, but you can develop your voice the same way you can develop, uh, you know, flexibility in your hands to play any instruments you want, or your lung capacity to be a horn player, etc. There are, muscles, in your physical body that you develop the same way you would to play an external instrument to make yourself a better singer. You can, I know that people think there's tone deaf people, and I definitely have met people that um, couldn't hear tones, so when they go to sing, it's like every note they sing is not the right note. But I have been able to teach people who can't hear notes to hear notes. It's just a matter of like taking the time to actually sit and listen to the notes that you're hearing that you've never had to listen to them the same way, and you try to match your voice to the note. And if that's where
Yeah.
you're at, then that's where you're at. But that's not a bad place to be. Like I knew a guy who was taking voice lessons, and he was just like, I'm just taking lessons because I'm embarrassed to sing karaoke with my friends.
So I wanna go in there and just crush it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he didn't even want to crash it. He just wanted to like not be scared. It
Yeah.
was like, I'm just here to learn how to not be scared, which is an awesome reason to take voice lessons.
Yeah.
And so he took he took lessons, and I taught him, you got to listen to the notes. You really have to listen to the notes. You have to, you know, figure out how to make your voice match the notes. And eventually, he started singing on key, and he came back and he said, "Oh my gosh, music sounds so different to me." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, listening to music is far more enjoyable because it
Yeah.
makes so much more sense. It's not just rhythm and notes. I know when they're going up. I know when they're going down.
Yeah.
And he could recognize all these patterns within the
Yeah.
music that he had never considered before. And so, I mean, really anybody can learn. And, obviously everyone's going to have different purpose and reason for
But anybody can get better. Anybody
learning
can learn.
music, but anybody can learn, anybody can get better at it, and anybody can, have music as a tool to bring joy into their lives.
Yeah. Or just like understand the world better, because I think it's kind of music has like certain truths inside it that are also inside a lot of other different things in the world. Um, so real quick, I gotta we're gonna just get through these questions real quick. What
Okay.
is just real quick? What is one helpful habit that you have whenever you sit down to write a song? Like, I don't. Do you have do you drink a glass of water? Do you meditate? Do you think about something? Do you do some push-ups? Or I don't know. Like,
Well, there's a lot of different ways to write a song, and so the one that I'm not going to talk about is the kind where you're just inspired and it comes to you and
yeah,
you just
yeah, because
go and
something
write.
that people can
We don't
say.
need to talk about that. So
Yeah,
if you have no idea what to write about and you want to sit down and you're like, I am going to write a song. Um, the thing that I do a lot, and this has been extremely helpful in many situations, uh, if you just sort of scroll through your head of your experiences, whether, okay, uh, for 5 minutes, I'm going to write about I hate my job. So you sit down, and for 5 minutes, doesn't matter what you write, you just write whatever you can think about your job. And then you say, okay, I'm going to write about,
you'll need a
I'm going
couple
to write about
pages.
I'm gonna write about my roommate really quick. So you got 5 minutes. write as much as you can about your roommate or whatever. I'm going to write about my mom for 5 minutes. I'm going to write about, what, I don't know, if you have a sickness or if you have whatever is uniquely wrong with you. Write about that for 5 minutes. Whatever you do, just keep going from topic to topic to topic, because if you go through, sometimes you're going to write something and it's going to just sound horrible, but what you're doing is you're practicing this part of your brain that gets you to think creatively and think creatively on the spot.
Like turn it on like a switch.
Yeah, your improv brain, and it will start thinking. The more you use that part of your brain, the more it will work the way you want it to. So that's its own thing. But the great thing about doing free writes and sitting down and just like making yourself sit and, think of the topics ahead of time so that you're not wondering what should I write about, folk thing. Then when you go to write a song, you've got pages of free writes that you say, you know what, I like this one line, or you say, this looks really good. Now I'm going to kind of pick, this is a great part to be a chorus, or this could be maybe a verse, and you start taking things apart and putting them into your structure of how you want your song to be. And if you do that, then you might end up crossing out half of it, and you might only end up with a chorus, or a chorus and a verse, or a chorus and a couple of verses or something. But then from there, it's far less daunting to, finish the song, because you have an idea, you have something to work on, you have something that unfinished that you can practice and you can write music to and you can focus on. And the more you do that, the easier it is, and the more it just comes to you. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a great song every time. You still have to write a lot of terrible songs to get a good one.
So that's just my I had an old I went to studied art in college, and I had this one drawing professor that said with all, he had a lot of sayings, but one of the things he would say is with all this like you're in a stable shoveling shit. With all this shit in here, there must be a pony somewhere. So his point was, I love that guy. Yeah. So the point is, you have to write 20 or 50 terrible songs to get like 3 gems. But so one last real quick question before we wrap up. If you could go back and do one thing differently that would have helped you get to where you are now, what would it have been?
If I could have done one thing differently, I would have just never been afraid. I mean, I know a lot of people look at me and think that I'm fearless because of the way that I live my life and pursue music no matter what. But, I definitely, when I was younger, I had all these ridiculous debates in my head about what music should be or shouldn't be, or which direction I should take it in or not take it in, or whatever. And I think, if I would have just like not cared so much about any of that and just, just put myself out there and, well, I don't know, I guess, I mean, I did to some degree. I don't know. Just don't be afraid.
So basically,
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just
enjoy
the process.
Yeah,
enjoy the process. Like, don't criticize the process. Don't criticize where you're at. And like, if you're writing songs and you're having a good time and you're playing music with your friends and you're going on the road, then that's a lot of people's dreams, and a lot of people will love you just for doing it.
Yeah. A lot of people will appreciate it. I mean, a lot of people appreciate what you do. So that right there is motivation to kind of push through the fear, because I don't think the fear goes away, but you just get this habit of doing things in spite of fear. And I think that's probably one of the best things.
Yeah. I think I held myself back during different points in my life because I was afraid of, what direction it was going to go, one thing or another. And it just, it's ridiculous. And I definitely, since I've embraced that I want to play music and I want to do it all the time and I want to be a lifer and this is my path, this is what I want to do. I've really embraced like what it means to me to play music. I'm not afraid and I feel like reckless and free and I play with, my whole heart out and that's just it's a good way to be. People like to hear music that way too. People like to feel music that way. So, and I know not everybody who plays music is gonna want to be uh like me and doing what I'm doing, but it's still like know exactly what you want and just be okay with that. Support yourself and be your biggest cheerleader and don't get scared.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah, be your biggest cheerleader. I never thought about it that way, but that's like, yeah, it's a very nice way of putting it. Just
Yeah.
pat yourself on the back, but also be like, develop that the ability to give positive criticism, constructive criticism to what you do.
Yeah.
So, but
Because if you're always worried if you're going to make it or not make it or whatever, that's just kind of useless. If you play and you're dedicated and you work your butt off, you're going to be successful.
yeah.
You're going to find people that your music touches them and your music is going to keep you happy and healthy, and you just have to know that's true.
All right. All right. Well, yeah, thanks. That about wraps it up, man. That about wraps it up. It's been awesome like having you on the show.
Thank you.
Again, everybody who's watching this, I've posted some links to some of her material. So check those out below this video. Also, make sure, if you haven't already, to sign up for the Seeds of Music newsletter so that you can get in
I
and
will
all the
do.
rest of the.
I'll do that.
Yes, you, whoever is there watching, sign up for the newsletter. That way you won't miss any of the interviews and you'll get some awesome updates from the site. Okay? All right, thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.